God, every day it's something great. By the way, all super chats will go to the top. And here we go without further ado. By the way, I can't wait for Battle Royale. I think Mark Holmes might be completely drunk by the time he comes in here at 4:30. So just to keep you aware, and Philly 500 can't wait to chop this guy's ass up and skin this guy alive come 4:30. So that's there for your entertainment at 4:30. Only place you'll see that, okay, is right here on JAKIB, because you won't see anybody fried or filleted when it comes to a press conference with Nikki Chiriani. Hit the like button. All that being said, the co-host of Birds 365, Big Z, Zander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills?
How you doing, brother?
He didn't say that shit, did he? I didn't catch the press conference today.
Yep.
Oh, no. We're comparing Cooper, one game Cooper DeJean to Michael Jordan.
Wait, to be fair, his energy.
I don't care what it is, man. Don't put them in the same sentence, man. And I'm with Flexen, who drops a super. It's always a loser like Nick that want to quote the great MJ. No doubt. Greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. Don't give me that LeBron shit. Michael Jordan, the GOAT.
Absolutely the GOAT. And who would have thought this? So know this, just to show you, my daughter never saw Michael Jordan play a game in her entire life. But she knows, she thinks Michael Jordan's the greatest NBA player of all time.
So when I'm bored, I go on YouTube and I rewatch Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
It's the most entertaining thing in the world to do.
Can I tell you my favorite part of that Bulls team? Is that open they had at Chicago Stadium in the arena. And they, you're 5-time. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, they had the best open.
So you go 6-0 in the finals, baby. That's a winner. Hey. That's a fucking winner. Hey. All right. We got a great segment planned today. So my list, I got this list, right? I feel like Big Sills waving the page at you guys. This list might piss. I pissed myself off making this list. I'm writing this list. I'm like, you got
hang on for a second.
You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
Hold on for a second. I think I got to try to find my.
Look at this. The Zander Krause show now, baby. No Big Sills. He rolls out of the room. What's up, everybody on the chat? A-Track still hating. LJ still hating. I want to be skinhead. I don't even know what the hell that means, LJ.
Hey, listen, what he does is he's trying to get you to comment on him so that
they want their attention. That's all right. I appreciate him being here. Same with the dude yesterday. I hope he's back, man in black.
He's like a 6-year-old that wants your attention. So,
Chuck, what's up, big dog? What's up, Mr. International? Steve Ike, Dr. J is king. That my
Here we go. I got it. Believe it or not, I found it with all my – this is yesterday's show, by the way. So, okay. So now I only wrote 10 down. So you got a list?
Well, no, I didn't do all right. So my list went so deep because I had to fit in Jalen.
Oh my God.
And then I had to fit in a couple guys after Jalen Hurts. My list is 24 deep. Now I'm not going to sit here and go through all 24. I'll give you them pretty quick, but I got a list here.
All right. I want to hear it. Let me hear them. Go ahead.
All right, you want to start from the top?
24. No, I want to hear. No, wait a minute. Start from the top down.
Okay, yeah. So number one, I got Mahomes. You got to beat the king in order to be the king, you got to beat the king. I don't want to hear about the interceptions. I don't want to hear about him starting off to a slow start. What is he, 6-0 right now this year? Still the greatest in the game. Obviously makes plays that you just never think you would see from a quarterback. Definitely the best quarterback in the league is Patrick Mahomes. Number two, I have Josh Allen. Playing with a pretty depleted lineup, just added some weapons there with Amari Cooper, most talented quarterback, arguably on Mahomes' level in terms of talent. I got Mahomes number two. Number three, I got Lamar Jackson playing lights out right now. Impressed with him. I think has the potential to have another MVP campaign, starting 0-2 and just one rattled off. What are they, 4 straight now? They're 4-2?
Yeah, 4-2.
Yeah, so he's on fire. Number four, Joe Burrow, who is now putting it together, really finding his rhythm right now. Joe Burrow at number 4 for me.
He's having a great year.
Great year right now. I mean, his defense sucks, and they got a lot of problems on that team, but Joe Burrow is still a tremendous quarterback. Number 5, C.J. Stroud playing lights out right now. Still the man right now, one of the top guys in the AFC for me. He's a very good player. Love watching him play. I have CJ Stroud at number 5. Number 6, I have Brock Purdy.
I got Purdy at 6.
Purdy at 6 for me. Just a good player, man. He comes and he delivers. He just plays good football continuously. So Brock Purdy, number 6. Number 7. Now, this one was tough for me to put here, and I want everybody to know this list is going off of this year. It's
Okay.
it's hard to take a full body of work and do a list right now in week 6 of a year. I'm going Jaden Daniels. I think he's been that impressive. If you watch his game tape, it's just been that freaking good from the pocket, inside the pocket, outside the pocket, just delivering the ball on time and on target. He's totally catapulted that organization into a bona fide playoff team that looks like they could be a Super Bowl contender if they keep it together.
And by the way, the future of the NFC East.
Yeah, don't say that to me yet. Number 8, Jordan Love. Love him. He's a great player. He came back strong. He had another good week last week, so I have him at number 8. Number 9, Aaron Rodgers. I'm not ready to put him out of my top 10 yet. I know people are saying he lost his fastball. I watched him on a Monday night game or a Sunday night game. I forget what it was. Not too many weeks ago, where he was 27 or 35 and he sliced and diced the defense like you won't see many quarterbacks do. You put him on this Eagles team, we're potentially 17-0 in a Super Bowl team. So Aaron Rodgers, number 9 for me. Sam Darnold at number 10. Can you believe that? I had him a little bit lower, and I'm like, I think I got to give him a little bit more credit. He's been that good.
Yeah.
So I moved him up.
Hey, now
to
I'm
10,
gonna
and then
I didn't do anything after 10, so I want to just like you said,
Who'd you have at 10?
Here's what I did. I had Joe Burrow at 10 because I did take the losses into consideration.
All right, that's fair. I was
he's
more going straight.
I don't mind where you have him though either. I got Baker Mayfield at 9. I think that he's been playing good ball, and that Bucs
Baker's
team,
right outside my top.
How about
10.
this? That Bucs team has wins over the Eagles and the Detroit Lions this year, and
impressive.
The Saints.
That's impressive.
So I've got him there. I've got Jaden Daniels at 8. I got Sam Darnold at 7. I think you and I are flipped a little bit on that one. I got Purdy at 6 like you do. I got Jared Goff at 5. I've got Allen at 4. And, after listening to you, I probably have Mahomes too low here. But I've got Mahomes 3. I've got CJ Stroud at 5 and 1. Sitting there at 2.
Yeah, see, I like your list. I have no issue. I was in battle with a lot of these dudes.
I got Lamar number 1 because
Lamar's probably playing like the best quarterback in the league right now.
I think he looks like the best player in the league right now.
Yeah, I just have a hard time starting a quarterback list right now and putting Mahomes not number 1. The dude's got
you're not wrong.
3 Super Bowls in what, a 6 or 7 year career, 3 Super Bowl MVP. I mean, the dude is just
been to 4 and 6.
He's a stud. So I have a hard time not putting Mahomes at number 1.
Yep.
11. After 11, that's where I put Jared Goff, who I think is a top 10 quarterback. It was hard for me to get him in there. You could argue he's been better than Jordan Love, who missed a couple games. You could argue he's been better than Aaron Rodgers.
Would you agree, before you move on, Zander, would you agree that the difference probably between 13 and 8, you could make a call where you could flip them anyway
100%,
right now?
100%. Number 12, I put Baker Mayfield, who I think has been great this year. His best year in the league so far. And if you watch the Buccaneers games, I'm not sure if Eagle fans have been watching them. That dude is slicing and dicing. He is really dissecting defense as well. He's playing football at a high level right now. You put him on this Eagles roster, we'd be playing lights out right now with the way he's reading defenses, getting that ball out quickly.
Wait, aren't you happy with the guy you got now?
Well, let me get there. So I have Baker at 12. 13, I have Herbert. Hard for me to drop him too low, man. The dude is just so talented.
You're 4 and 2.
But he hasn't put it together. Like the talent that you saw coming into the league, you would expect him to be higher, but I just can't put him higher right now. So I have him at number 13.
He's having a year like he's having is because I think Jim's taking a lot of heat off him by developing a running game. They're in the top 3 when it comes to rushing.
I think he's going to be better. Yeah, I think he's going to go back up that list this year. I think Harbaugh's a better coach for him.
Completely agree.
Yep, no doubt. Number 14, I have Matthew Stafford, great player in the NFC. Still
probably the best thrower of the football next to Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, up there, no doubt. Matthew Stafford. Number 15, I have Kirk Cousins, who I think has been playing really good football. this year. I got to give him a credit there. Number 16, I have Kyler Murray, and I argued putting him over Kirk right now because I think Kyler Murray is finding his stride a little bit as a quarterback right now. I was majorly out on Kyler, and I think he's played better this year.
Me too.
Number 17, Dak Prescott. I got to go.
No!
I know he's been struggling. I still think he's a great thrower of the football.
Prescott.
I still think he's better than Jalen Hurts, and I still think he is just a good quarterback. I mean, look, they got a lot of issues in Dallas. I can't put them all on Dak. Now, he hasn't been great, but I have a hard time believing Dak Prescott's the 20th best quarterback in the league, okay? So I'll put Dak Prescott there at number 17. Number 18, nudging out our man, Jalen Hurts. Caleb Williams. I think he's a better thrower of the football, processing early at a young age right now. Really finding his rhythm. He's got the Bears playing at 4-2.
4-2.
The Bears. Caleb Williams really looking good right now. Number 19. Cracking the list at 19 is Jalen Hurts. I couldn't put Daniel Jones above him. I couldn't put Geno Smith above him. Carr, Fields, Lawrence. I think Jalen's playing at the top tier of those guys right now. The Carrs of the world, the Geno Smiths of the world, the Daniel Joneses of the world. That's what I think Jalen has been this year. Hasn't elevated the team when he's lost anybody. I just don't see it right now. You know, we had a great segment this morning on Birds 365 with Mike Gill, and we're running through this offense. And Mike Gill was, so you should listen to that segment. You would love it. It was just good breaking down of this football, this offense, and how it's working and what the problems are with it and why a lot of these things are pointing at Jalen Hurts. Every fan likes to scapegoat Nick Sirianni. Every fan likes to scapegoat Kellen Moore, and I get it. It's easy to do, but it's on Jalen, I think.
But I also happen to think it's in the room of there's just too many hands on the game plan. You have too many voices in this guy with too many different opinions, and they tell you this weekly that it's a collaborative effort. Dude, I don't want a collaborative effort. And by the way, you think that's a collaborative effort when it comes to play calling with Matt LaFleur in Green Bay?
No, somebody commented that earlier. Look at all the best teams in the league.
Yeah. All head
Shanahan,
coaches with the decision.
They all got one dude in the ear of the quarterback. And look, you could argue the setup is the reason that Jalen Hurts is so low. You know, you could argue he'd be better with a better setup. But I think he's lacking in some of the key areas right now. Getting through reading defenses, getting through your progressions. Those are some of the most important things you have to do as a quarterback, and he's not doing them at a high level right now. And I don't want to hear this bullshit that, you're missing a player. Look around the league. Every team in the league is missing players. Jalen can't elevate. Okay, then that tells me he's not in the top 5 or in the top 10. You can't elevate your team around him at all.
Hey, Zander, when A.J. Brown's not on that team, he melts down.
Yeah, no doubt. That's been proven.
Hey, by the
20,
way,
I have Daniel Jones, 21, Geno Smith, 22, Derek Carr, 23, Trevor Lawrence, 24, Justin Fields. That's where I stopped.
Here, let me. That's a great list, by the way. Hard decisions for you too. But take a look at how they developed three quarterbacks over 39 years in Green Bay. Nate, can you name me a top flight wide receiver up there that outside of Devontae Adams? Can you name me a top flight receiver in Green Bay with Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love?
Well, when they had Devontae Adams, he was a top flight.
Okay. In 40 years, they had one guy. And by the way, he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. He won it with Randall Cobb and guys like that.
Really?
He didn't
win. You're right.
He wasn't. So what's the point? My point is wide receivers don't develop quarterbacks. Quarterbacks develop wide receivers.
Great take. Agreed. 100%. But it's the other way around in Philly. Look at Jalen's career. His career
and
took
the GM knows that.
What's that?
And the GM knows that.
Yeah, he does know that. That's why he's stacked the offensive side of the roster. Our defense coming into this year, you would look at it and be like, okay, that's the thing we got to fix. And we signed Saquon Barkley. We could have went $17 million and picked up one of the best safeties in the league in Xavier McKinney. But because Green Bay feels better about their quarterback, they decided to invest on the defensive side of the ball. You can get mad at me as the messenger. That's the reality.
It
How
is.
he chose to use his assets on another offensive weapon when you have 2 top 10 wide receivers, a top 5 offensive line, and a $50 million quarterback.
And a top 3 running back. Don't forget
Well,
that.
now you do.
Yeah.
You didn't have that before, but how he decided to go that route.
You had a Pro Bowl running back last year.
Yeah, but come on, I'm not calling.
Hey, dude, I'll tell you what, he's playing great up in Chicago.
Yeah, he is
right
quietly starting to put together a nice season.
Yeah.
And catch.
By the way, we're going to read all super chats. I promise. I promise here, dude. I mean, look at the teams with the quarterbacks that they're developing correctly. And I'll tell you one thing I'm starting to see with Purdy. When they start missing a couple components, how about this, man? Can you imagine Jalen Hurts having to go through the season without A.J. Brown and having to win games? Brock Purdy's going to have to go through the majority of this season, it seems, without Christian McCaffrey. And he's winning ball games. Okay? He's winning games, and he's moving the sticks, and he's having a good year this year. And to me, he's developing into being a guy that you can look back on and go like this, you know what? I am going to pay that guy. I didn't know if he was a product of the system the same way that Jimmy Garoppolo was. But when you took pieces away from Garoppolo, he imploded. And when you put him on a different team without a different play caller, like the Raiders, he was terrible. That guy there is the perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan and what he wants because he processes quickly. He sees the field. You know what Montana said about him? Montana said he's further along in his development as a quarterback than he ever was. That guy won 4 Super Bowls. And by the way, never threw a pick in a Super Bowl. He's 14 touchdowns, no interceptions, had 140 quarterback rating. And you know who he beat in the Super Bowls? John Elway and Dan Marino and guys like that in Super Bowls. You're talking about a guy who's Michael Jordan also in them Super Bowl games. He didn't lose. He's 4-0, dude.
Yeah.
And that guy saying he processes better.
If you don't want to listen to me, how about you listen to fucking Dan Marino? How's that for you guys?
Yeah. Hey, those guys are all talking about how, by the way, guys like Brady and Marino talk about Josh Allen and say this, my God almighty, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Because this guy's a 4,400-yard passer. He's going to get you 700. He never misses games because he's 6'6". I mean, dude, look at I think Josh Allen is developing into a great year this year and into a great quarterback. Think about this, Zander.
Josh Allen led the league in interceptions last year. You know how many interceptions he has this year?
How many? 2?
0.
0.
Hey,
and by the way, they're 4-2. They're 4-2, and he has no Stephon Diggs.
Nothing.
And by the way, get this. I think they're having him play a smarter game because against that Jets thing, he didn't do anything sensational. But you know what Jimmy always says, Jimmy Johnson? It's not about the sensational plays. It's about not making that one fucked up play. That's gets Jalen in trouble.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's messed up plays that he has in games. Okay? That's why.
Did you have any issue with anyone else on my list?
No.
What'd you think of having Dak at 7 or at 17?
I think the turnovers is that why he's low like down there right now.
So many are saying I have him too high.
He could be a little bit because he has a lot of turnovers this year, and that's
who you putting above him?
Who's Caleb? Below?
It's 17 Dak, 18 Caleb, 19 Jalen.
I might put Caleb above him right now.
Yeah, I had a hard time. The only reason I didn't want to do that is because I have a hard time with a rookie, but I did it with Jaden Daniels. So I kind of broke my own rule with Jaden Daniels. I had him at 7.
Okay. Hey, Josh and everybody who's doing super chats, we promise we'll read every single one of them. Let me throw a topic at you here. How much do you really think Nick Sirianni misses Jason Kelce's leadership?
Yeah, I saw that being said. I forget who it was that first talked about that. I'm happy you asked me about it.
Before you go on, I want to give you a buffer. Then I'm glad someone else said it, but hear me out on this. I always thought Tom Brady, and I mentioned this to you the other day. I always thought Tom Brady was kind of the buffer between Belichick and the coach and the players in the locker room. Right. This is what Bill means to say. And I mentioned Tim Duncan to you when it came to Greg Popovich. Hey, this is what Greg means when he's talking about leave your egos at the front door. This is really about us. There was always that buffer in the middle there so that it would be kind of like a conduit from the coach to the players so the players didn't feel like they were being talked down to. When those two guys left their buildings, those two franchises fell apart. Jason Kelce's leadership Do you think he was that kind of guy where, hey, Nick in the organization said something, he would go into the locker room and tell people, hey, this is our team. This is what we have to
Right.
do. Do you
Yeah, but
think,
isn't that a weak argument? Like, we need a head coach who's 40 what? How old is this dude? He needs a fucking player to keep him on the rails?
Zander, sometimes coaches' egos get in the way so bad. Nick's got one of the biggest egos. Did you not see it on Sunday?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Yeah, no
You're
doubt.
talking about a very emotional guy.
Yeah, he
And
is.
so when you have a guy
I
like
actually think the emotion can be a positive if it's used correctly.
if it's funneled correctly, it
Right.
is. But here's the problem. His peaks are so high and his downs are so low that you don't want to be on a seesaw when your boss is like that. Who in their world likes to go to work when you have a boss with highs and lows like that? I want a guy like Dungy, man, where get this, it's not too high, it's not too low. Nobody get, hey, when shit goes through, you know why he can't fix anything? Because when he's down,
Yeah,
and he can't
true.
get off the mat. That's his problem. He's not a guy that can handle his own emotions. So how important was Jason Kelsey in that building at keeping everyone's emotions intact?
Well, I'll ask you this. Jason Kelsey was on the team when they went 1-7, didn't that? Wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But do you think that last year had a lot more to do with front office meddling than it did about Sirianni's
I think the whole
behavior?
organization always has something to do with front office meddling. I mean, we had this conversation this morning, and I'm listening to Mike break this thing down, and I'm like, wait a second, we run our offense ass backwards. If you think about it, we come out and we throw go routes in the first 2 drives on offense, and we
Why?
don't even think about feeding the running back or letting Jalen get settled into the game or giving him a mesh route or letting him run and get his leg. We throw go routes.
Why do you think you do that?
We do that because John tells me all the time, it's an organizational philosophy to want to pass the ball.
There's 3 numbers, 35, 25, and 50. You're not paying those guys to run the ball, dude.
I know. And more than that, they believe organization-wise that that's the best way to win games is to get chunk plays in the passing game.
Yep.
So they do it to their own detriment versus you have a team like Detroit,
That's why they
another team
stutter.
with the top 5 offensive line, just like we do here in Philly. And
Yep.
you know what Detroit does? They take their offensive line and they fucking bully you.
Yep.
They bully you with them. And then all of a sudden it makes Jared Goff look like a superstar quarterback because it
St.
opens
Brown's
up the
wide
whole
open.
game.
Yep, St.
I
Brown's
mean,
wide
go ask
open.
Dallas about that Detroit offensive line.
Dude,
They
Panay
beat their
Sewell,
head in.
Panay Sewell and those guys,
Oh,
and
man,
Ragnow, those guys
they're
were
beasts.
playing with them at the end of the game. They were
Look,
making
if you
fun of
watch
them.
the Eagles, and you've been watching the Eagles, obviously, covering the team now for 4 years, you wouldn't even know we had a top 5 offensive line if there wasn't every list in the world telling you it. They don't use those
They don't
dudes
play
at
like it.
all.
They don't play like it now.
They do not at all.
No.
It's almost insane to think about when you talk about how much the league, everybody across the league struggles with offensive lines, and everybody wants a great offensive line, and it's a top priority for every team. We have it here in Philly, and then we don't use it. We don't bully anybody.
No. Since 2022, your face,
Right, that's when we did it.
you've lost your identity.
That's when we did it. We have no identity.
You had an identity in
Somebody
22.
commented on Bird 365 this morning. I think it was Kenny, his name is, I think, in the chat. Kenny, if you're in here, appreciate it. I think it was you this
They
morning.
haven't had an identity in a year and a half.
The biggest difference between the Philadelphia Eagles and Detroit is Detroit knows exactly what they want to do, and then they come in and they shove it down your throat, and you have to, and you're forced to accept it or try and stop it. The Eagles have no idea what they want to do. We have no identity as an offense.
Let me show you something.
Dropping back and throwing a go route to A.J. Brown in the second, third, and fourth play of the game is not an identity.
Here, Zander, when Baltimore wins a game, you know their identity. When Baltimore loses a game, you know their identity. When Baltimore does something different out of their identity, like throw the ball too much against Kansas City, you know they're doing things and they're being outcoached. That identity to that team goes with your winning or losing. It doesn't matter on winning or losing. You win that way, you lose that way. The Eagles do this. When you don't have personnel on the team implodes. When you have personnel on the team struggles. Why? Because the quarterback struggles on getting the ball spread around and they get away from running the ball. Dude, Jalen Hurts' best asset is the fact that he can run the ball. That's what his asset, and it opens up the passing game and those guys later in the games. Don't you remember what they used to do in 22? They would run the ball 13, 14 play drives. Whatever happened to those things? They completely went away. And what would happen? In the second half, they were throwing the ball around the yard like they were playing in their backyard Nerf ball. But they loosened you up. How many times in 22, Xander, did we see this? 12-play drive, score. Yep. The other team has the ball for 6 minutes in the first half, and you're going like this. Holy shit, that team only got 12 plays.
We don't do that at all.
To you now.
We don't do that at all anymore, dude. We really don't. Detroit is a fun team to watch, and it was big shout out to Kenny. It was you, Kenny. Appreciate you being here. Bob with another good take, as per usual, from Bob Brown. Xander, Detroit has taken on the personality of their coach, just like Philly has taken on Knicks. And Bob, here's why that pisses me off so much more than it should. Because it's not like we're playing with fuddy-duddy offensive linemen out there. Our offensive line is as good as Detroit's. It's as good. And if it's not as good, it's right there. And we don't use them. We do not bully anybody. We are closer to being the Miami Dolphins with the cutesy stuff than we are being the Detroit Lions, where they just
don't you understand, Sam, when you become a passing team, you're a finesse team. You're not a power team.
No, we're not at all. And you know what the funniest part about this is?
And that's self-inflicted.
I hate this organization. They believe if you want to be the power team, you can't be the passing team too. You can be both. Set the game up, pound it down their throat, and then open it up for Jalen Hurts.
Andrew,
make his life easier.
The only way that dynamic changes if you have a generational talent like Brady or Mahomes. Other than that, those guys come along. I mean, look,
Jalen Hurts.
They're not a power running game in Kansas City, but the quarterback is so special. Okay? He's so special. And Brady too. They didn't have a gigantic power game, but would swear.
We're not even built like that. We don't need to be.
I know you're not.
Jared Goff is not Patrick Mahomes.
Wait a minute. The coach and the quarterback aren't good enough.
Is it the coach?
It's both. Remember you said you got to have both.
I know, but
name me a football team that's a contender that doesn't have both.
I know, but here's my new worry with Nick Sirianni. Is it even Nick Sirianni who's making any of these game plans? John tells me every day on one hand, the organization wants chunk plays in the passing game. Now they paid Jalen Hurts this $50 million a year contract, and ever since they paid him it, they've turned him into a go route only quarterback, and they've completely changed the identity. Am I supposed to believe that that's on Nick Sirianni? Now, it looks like it is because he's the head coach, right? It looks like it is.
Got his name
but
on
how do we know that the organization that marched into Doug Peterson's office after a win, I think it was over the Dallas Cowboys, and said, why'd you run the ball like this?
Everyone fights me on this point. I've been making for 4 years.
I don't think it's Nick. Look, I'm not a huge Nick guy.
Yeah,
all right? I'm not a big Nick fan.
Wait a minute. You say it all the time, though, man. You got to deal with the organizational shit.
I don't know how much Nick's at fault for this. I really don't. And by the way, for the people who say fire Howie, I wonder how much it's Howie.
Hey, wait a minute. It is Howie. It's completely him. He built it.
Howie, or is it him being told by the owner and the kid, these are the analytics, and this is the way we want to run our offense.
I've been saying this shit for 4 years. This is now coming to a head now. And now everybody in Philly is now all of a sudden opening their eyes that, when I hear a press conference, or I even hear a great guy like John McMullen telling you that Nick is making decisions. No, he's not. Did he make a hire? No. Does he put the game plan together? Yeah, I showed you how he puts the game plan together.
The thing, right? Wait
a minute. Let me finish. Let me finish this here. Here's how he puts the game plan together. Julian in the analytics department gives him the plays that are going to work, they believe, for that game. And then guess what they do? They put him and Kellen, and Stoutland and all the rest of these guys, Nussmeier, put all the game plan together based off the intel that they get from the front office. Who said that on this program? Frank freaking Wright. So in a way, Xander, the hand is predetermined and dealt to you.
Right.
It's like, hey, you want assistant coaches, Nick? That's why Nick can say I hired him. Well, here's a list of 15 guys we like. Go ahead, pick a guy off that list. Right. Then we'll bring him in.
You're right.
Hey, you're setting the deck.
Yeah. You're right. Nick makes a micro decision, but they set the deck on the path of the organization,
They
and they've been
set the
doing that for
formula,
years.
like you've been saying. They have a formula. That's why, dude, you said the smartest thing that anybody in Philadelphia media has said about 3 weeks ago. John, you keep telling me not to bring up 23, but why does it look the same? And right there, I went, because it is. You know why? It's just different names on the door of the coaches. It's the same thing because the front office thinks the same way. Zander, why would they think anything different? Why would they think anything different? They haven't had a losing coach since 2000. They've been to 3 Super Bowls since 2000. They interchange coaches and coordinators like, get this. I mean, seriously, like they're leaves on a tree. You keep asking, well, Jalen Hurts is going to get better. Dude, you were right at the beginning of the year to think that the kid should be throwing for 4,500 yards. But I'm like this. They'll never do that because you know why? It's another system. He's going to take at least 6-7 weeks for him to get comfortable even in setting the protections.
I think he's adding to the problem.
What?
I think Jalen Hurts is adding to the problem.
What's he adding?
Because there's a lot of dumbasses out there, right? And I'm not going to name names, but there are people who, have a humongous followings that cover this team, and they hear Nick Sirianni go up to a press conference and say, "Oh, I made the play call on 3rd and 1 when Jalen got sacked and that forced the field goal." Nick Sirianni didn't make that fucking play call, everybody. He is bailing out, not the coordinator, the quarterback who audibled to that play. And then everybody will give Jalen the credit when it worked on the last play, which, by the way, was over the top risky.
Because he's the owner's pet.
Everybody says, "Oh, Nick took the blame at the end of the half." Nick didn't make that call.
Jalen Hurts.
Go watch the tape, so as you can see Jalen Hurts look over to AJ and audible.
Jalen Hurts is the owner's pet.
Yeah, and that's true.
He's the owner's pet. You're not going to talk shit on him. Jalen has so much power in that building because the owner gives it to him that he could do whatever he wants. And so at the end of the day, Nick, like you said, Nick's responsibility, they kept Nick around because you know why? Nick's the perfect head coach for them. He doesn't have a job. They want to run the team. Why would they want a guy in there pushing back on them like Doug and making any kind of suggestions when maybe that's counteractive to what they want to do and how they want to do business? Look, I told you, I can't believe that they actually listened to me and ran the ball the way they did, and actually the way Jalen ran. 25 passes, 14 rushes. That's what I said the winning formula was going to be. And let me ask you this too about AJ. So AJ Brown, you add him to the offense. You're trying to tell me that he was only worth 4 points against the Browns? I mean, Zander, you added a high-quality guy like that, and you barely beat a shitty team. Do you know that they did a survey of over 800 teams in the last, I can't remember how many years. Do you know the Browns are one of the bottom 5 teams of all time offensively in like the last 35 years? One of the worst offenses. And people are coming out of that going, well, the defense really had it. No, the defense didn't. They played down, I should say, to the Browns.
Yeah, but
they didn't have a great game.
I think you're missing the boat here on okay, the defense was never supposed to be this good. We knew that the defense lacked equity. We knew that it lacked investment. This offense is underperforming. Sills, we're averaging like 20 points a game right now. You think these problems are on the defense?
No.
I get it. The defense isn't perfect.
No. I think the problem is that how the defense was built, but I also think that your quarterback and your head coach are never going to have that offense in a position where you want it to be because they're not good enough. They're not good enough to be able to handle. Look at this. You got all that. Jalen's got the most talented offense in pro football. And dude, you can't score more than 20 points a game with those guys. I mean, Daniel Jones is playing at the same level right now as Jalen Hurts is, passing-wise. He's playing at the same level. And I don't think anybody in here thinks Daniel Jones is a good quarterback or you build your team around him. But you know what he has? He has Brian Dable, who's at least putting him in a position to succeed. Dude, Zander, I've been saying it for 3 years to you. He's not that good.
I know, and I think you're also missing how much he's audible and on the field. He's been clamoring for this autonomy for years. Jason Kelsey talked about it in his interview before the Monday Night Football
He's changing
game.
plays into bad plays.
He's changing plays like crazy. Now, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe like you said, okay, put the ball in the superstar's hands. Okay.
You're paying them.
Yeah, but it's not working.
Hey, okay, it's not working in Cleveland either. I get it. Sometimes you make mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think it's a bigger issue than you're leading on, though.
Oh.
I mean, there's these things that float around all over social media. This isn't Kellen Moore's offense. Yeah. It's not Nick Sirianni's either. It's fucking Jalen Hurts's. Go look at 22, 23, and 24. Everybody keeps putting the route comparison of A.J. Brown last year, this year. It's the same thing.
Dude.
And Jalen Hurts is audibling on all the play. He's sending A.J. on a go route every time he audibles.
Okay. To go to your thinking, if you are going to think the way you are, the one thing at 22 that justifies what you're saying, RPO puts you in a box, doesn't give you a chance to audible. It gives you a chance to make decisions right there into play. Carry it, hand it off, what have you. But it's more of a controlling of the quarterback. Quarterback's not going to do anything crazy. So that's a non-traditional offense. But I'll also tell you something else that he's doing this year that is, to your point, why he's struggling. Okay, Zander, so when he comes to the line of scrimmage and he has to identify where he thinks the blitzes are going to come from, either strong safety, free safety, or he thinks there's going to be an edge rush or there's going to be a game in the middle. How in the world is he looking downfield when he's looking right in front of him to try to figure out where the blitzing's coming from? You know why he goes to one target? He's not seeing the entire field because he's worried about setting protection and worrying about where the blitz is coming from. That's why he's
so far past that point, though, Sills. This is
what you have.
I know, but I'm saying I've already accepted the reality. We do not run a complex pro-style offense.
Wait a minute. I don't even want to sound like I'm defending the guy, but here, wait a minute. You fucking signed this guy to that money. You got him for 3 more years. You're going to sit here now fucking trying to go, well, he's not. Hey, that ship has sailed.
I know. You're
in the same position as Cleveland.
My point is, I've already come to the realization that this is a dumbed down. It's a college version offense, and it's built on Jalen only having to see half the field. I'm aware of that.
It's OU offense.
Yeah, it's honestly, it seems like it's even a little bit lesser.
Finding Calcaterra, a guy he played with at OU too. I mean, dude, this guy is a one-read dude. He throws to only 2 people. And by the way, that's a trend now. I mean, it's a trend. And throwing to Dotson or those stupid passes that he was throwing to Britton Covey, fuck, no one thinks those things are any kind of subsequence that you're going to move the sticks with those guys. Dude, this is here. Let me go back to my 4 years ago. I don't see it. I never did see it. He was a one-year wonder. That quarterback has not gotten better at reading defenses. He still can't. His pocket presence is getting better, but it's affecting his down-the-field throw.
Where are you getting that? His pocket presence is getting better?
No, I said his blitz in the pocket.
Okay, well, you misspoke because maybe his reading defense is getting marginally better. The pocket presence is nowhere.
No. I meant with blitzing.
Watching Jalen Hurts in a pocket gives me agita.
Yeah.
I literally look at him and I'm like, get out of there. He just doesn't look comfortable.
Brady mentioned it. He has no pocket presence.
No pocket awareness. None. And this is the comment, Sean, appreciate you being here. But this is what you got to avoid as a fan, dude. He says, you idiots are acting like the roof is caving in. The Eagles are 3-2 with a cupcake matchup on Sunday. Okay, Sean, here's what I'll tell you, Sean. Enjoy the win. In fact, we'll probably win the next 3 straight, and we'll be 6-2, and you'll be on here telling me how stupid I am because we're 6-2. And then we're going to get to the back end of the year. We're going to play competent football teams, and they're going to laugh us off the turf. And we're going to score 9 points in a playoff game again because we don't have a real NFL offense.
Hey,
so
Sean,
you can beat up on the worst teams in the league and feel good about it. If that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative. That's fine. But don't expect a Super Bowl. Don't expect that type of an offense.
Sean, you were probably one of the ones that were ripping me when I was ripping your team at 10-1. When I was saying, this will catch up to you.
Exactly.
And this
Same
will
thing.
catch up to you.
I watched it from behind the scenes last year, but I watched the same thing happen. Cilio's dumb. We're 10-1, best team in the league. We scored 9 points versus the Bucks, and everybody still wants to blame the defense. 9 points. You went into a playoff game and you scored 9 points.
Take AJ off the field, your quarterback melts.
Forget AJ. That is the sorriest excuse in the world that you don't have AJ Brown for one game and you can't do shit. You scored 9 points in a playoff game, dude.
I know.
No wonder how we signed Saquon Barkley. He looked at it the same way I did. He said, wait a second, our offense still stinks.
Hey, dude, you're preaching to the choir here. When all you, not you, when all the people in Philly were telling me the ceiling and all that, and I'm going like, this guy's ceiling's 22. That's his ceiling. That's the best he's going to look. He's never going to look better than that ever again. That's what he is. That's, like you said, he can have top 5 moments, but most of the time he's going to hang out around 15 when it comes to being in the middle of the league. He's going to be a tad bit better than Tyrod Taylor. He's going to be a guy that is going to win you some games because why? How he builds the roster up and how he has a really good roster around him.
This organization,
and you're going to win games.
The whole organization is.
It's like pyrite. It's fool's gold.
The whole organization's pissing me off because, I think this is a fair comment, right? Hurts never has the right offensive coordinator. Hurts, he said Hurts needs a coach. It doesn't matter if they change the coach, Love. That's the problem. I actually like Jalen Hurts as a player more than I'm leading on to believe in my segments right now. But he's never going to get that coaching here. They want a pass-happy offense here, which means they are going to turn him into what you're seeing right now continuously, whether it works or not.
And that's why
that is what they want. If you put him in an organization like Kansas City or like Baltimore or like the San Francisco 49ers, where there was no owner saying, this is how you must run your team, he'd probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
They'd probably take his work ethic, take his talent, take his athleticism, take his throwing ability.
If he was in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, another good example. They'd probably make him pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
But that's never going to happen here. It's never going to happen here.
Nope.
Ever.
We
could have 10 head coaches for Hurts. You could have 10 offensive coordinators for Hurts. It's never going to happen.
Happened to Wentz.
They've been telling me for John McMullen's been with JAKIB for 5 years now. He's been telling us on the air for long before I ever started doing content. This is the organizational philosophy. They want to throw the ball. That's why every time everybody comments on Bird 365, ask John about this. Ask John about running against the opponent. Ask John about using Saquon more this week. He laughs at me. Every single time he laughs at me and says, they are not going to do that. We have a top 5 offensive line. Like I said earlier in the segment, you wouldn't even know it. If you just got dropped on the earth from Mars and didn't watch football all year and watch the Eagles, you'd say, I don't know how good they're off. Are they middle of the pack O-line? Middle of the pack?
No, they haven't been good in a year and a half.
We don't use them.
No,
you'd watch Detroit for 3 drives and say, holy shit.
Ask yourself this. There's 2 things that they don't do. There's 2 things that they don't do. They don't run the ball and they don't go to their tight end. And they only go to their tight end when it's an emergency reason. That's it. You got a $50 million tight end. He makes as much money as Jason Kelce or Travis Kelce, and you don't go to him. What's the point of having him? When the other 2 receivers are on the field, Dallas Goedert's nowhere to be found because the quarterback can't find him. Quarterback can't go to his 3rd read, dude. That's not going to happen. He's nowhere in that conversation yet. And you know what? He probably never will be because of the style of play they have. Again, it's funny. I keep going back, and now I'm hearing more things that what I've been saying for 4 years about the kid. The kid is what he is. But now here's the problem. This is not college ball, Zander. We can go out and recruit a kid and replace him. You got to pay that guy, and you got to play that guy.
Yeah, but I don't get why do they do this? Why do you go and get and draft Jalen Hurts, make him the starting quarterback, use him correctly in 22, make him a star, make him an elite player, make him an MVP candidate, and then pay him and try and turn him into something he's not, and have him throwing the ball like he's some sort of a passer? People in the chat think I'm being critical of Hurts. I'm not even being critical of Hurts. I'm being critical of the organization who has thrusted him into this spotlight.
They don't want to hear this.
Something he's not.
They don't want to hear this because they think that he's Josh Allen and they think he's Patrick Mahomes. They do. Yeah, they do. They actually think this guy,
Josh Allen, they would be removing assets around him like they are in Buffalo and building up the defense and building up everything else. We had the best. We had last year. We were told
fans think this.
I know, but last year it was the same thing, right? Before Saquon Barkley. Oh, look at how good, look at how stacked the offense is. Wide receiver this, wide receiver that, top 5 tight end, top 5 offensive line. They went out in the offseason, and you know what their biggest signing was? An offensive player.
I know.
An offensive player. With all that, they still went offense.
And they had a project.
Maybe Jeffrey Lurie believes it. Howie doesn't.
And they went to a project player at end.
Yeah, right.
A
project player who can't get around a tight end.
Hey, I'm just saying.
And Xavier McKinney was too rich. John McMullen has reported that they were fully in on the Xavier McKinney conversation, and that conversation got too rich for him. Meanwhile, that guy's the best safety in the league, and Green Bay looks pretty damn good right now as a football team because they didn't need to load the offense around them. It's on Jalen, but it's also on the whole philosophy of this team. It really is. It's not a winning philosophy. It really is not.
You paid him too soon. I said it right after you signed him.
I think it's even deeper than that, though. I really do.
But now you can't get out from under it. The conversation is you're done with it. You have to make this thing. Let me tell you where they're at right now. They have to make this thing work. You're stuck for 3 years, dude, or at least 2 more.
Yes.
Or do you want to do what Denver did? Do you want to eat $39-40 million of a contract? Because remember something, Pittsburgh's only paying $1 million of that $40 million contract that Russell Wilson. Do you want to go down that route? Howie wouldn't even cut James Bradbury to save $4 million.
Wait, look at Emirates. I love you, dude. I love you. He said Green Bay, the team we beat. Oh yeah, all right. Didn't we all say that about Kansas City last year too? Yeah, the team that won the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, we got bounced by Baker Mayfield and the Bucks.
And the Bucks
9 points on the board, Emirates.
And the Bucks
is delusional, bro. I love you, but don't be delusional.
He's totally delusional. He thinks his football team is better than they are.
In the face. It's much easier that way.
Hey, let me just say this to you. Emirates is probably like a lot of people in that fan base that thinks they're better than they are. You're not. I mean, you can't even beat the Bucks now. The Bucks, Todd Bowles owns you. No matter if you have your full allotment of players or you're not full allotment of players, it doesn't matter. By the way, like I said, you added A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and you barely beat the Browns. How much of an impact did those guys make in that Browns game? Very little when it comes to moving the sticks. The Browns were in a game. Well, wait a minute. They held them. They blocked. Dude, it was a fourth quarter football game against a shitty football team that's going nowhere. That is in a yard sale right now. Who are you kidding me, man? I mean, and you're talking about beating a Browns team that stinks, that everyone's killing right now.
Let's roll through these super chats. We got to get out of here before.
Yeah, because by the way, we got.
Hopefully that cheers everybody up because I'm not in the greatest mood.
Right now. Hey, Mark Holmes, I don't know if he's going to be drunk or not here. So let's get through all the super chats here.
Flexen checked in. Flexen, appreciate it. He says, it's always a loser like Nick that want to we hit that. Appreciate you, Flex. Brian says, what does Hurts have over Dan? I think Daniel Jones maybe. Taller, faster, stronger arm and communicates well. Jalen just talks about his false purpose and crawfish. Okay, T-Bone checks in. To be competitive, I say edge rusher is what's missing. Edge would improve everything. DT, LB, and DBs would improve. Then if offense get close to 22 form, team would be drastically improved. T-Bone, that's great. I worry about the people upstairs who would probably.
How do you think Brian Burns would have looked on the other side of Josh Sweat with Carter and Davis in the middle, front four looking, and then you had Brandon Graham coming in?
He would have looked good.
That would have looked good in there because right now, do you know the Giants are number 1 in pass rushing?
Yeah, the Giants are not going to be a walk in the park this week. Prince Swayze checks in. That list is hot garbage. Sorry, Zander. Stay off the weed, bro. 1 Lamar, 2 Patrick, 3 Jalen. Oh, Prince.
No, Jalen. No, Jalen Daniels.
Jaden. Okay, maybe he meant Jaden.
Yeah, he didn't mean Jalen Hurts.
Or Sam. Who? Sam Darnold, 5 Allen.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, Allen.
No, he meant Jalen Hurts, my friend.
No, he didn't mean Jalen Hurts.
He meant Jalen Hurts.
No way. That's spelled with J-A-L.
Prince, did you mean Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts is third. Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts is like I said, it's like he's like a little Fiat
Prince,
compared
that's
to a
the worst
Bugatti.
top 10 I've ever seen in my life that you just put out there.
No,
Prince,
it's Jalen Daniels. He has
Prince, that is awful. Lamar, Patrick, okay. Jalen, Sam, Allen, Baker, Goff, Love, Cousins, and Prince. That's the worst list I've ever. Prince, you won the day. The worst list I've ever read in my life.
Wow.
Brian, Jalen Hurts is slow. He is in each and every move he does. The guy looks like he's doing a slow motion photo shoot. We need a QB, not a socialite.
Hey, Brian, he's saying he's doing the moonwalk. Okay.
He does look slow. I got to tell you that. Josh
slow.
B. So is it time to sell, tank, and rebuild?
No.
Josh B. That's a tough question.
Run through the tape. No way. Run through the tape. You're 3-2, like Prince says. You're 3-2.
Yeah, everybody's going to get high on when you beat the Giants and the Browns and the low life of the league.
Run through the
then
tape.
We'll get to
No
the
way.
playoff and get bounced again. Anthony Amatucci. It's amazing. Lurie saw Kellen Moore in Dallas in 19 and wanted that ridiculed Doug for running. They bring in Moore and it looks nothing like 19. Front office is ruining the offense and game plan. I think Anthony's on to something there.
Totally true. Absolutely true.
Anthony, you've been on fire, man. You've had some really good comments. Anthony Wilson. Anthony, appreciate you being here.
Are you calling Hurts Deshaun Watson? I'm saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are in the same position that the Cleveland Browns are in. You got to make it work, dude. The Browns have to make that work. They got a guaranteed contract with that guy. You got a guaranteed contract with this guy, basically with a no trade. You've got to make that fucker work, dude.
Bald Eagle, literally all we need is a head coach and an OC for 2 years. I don't know about that, Bald. We'll see.
Quarterback.
Get rid of Sirianni, then we'll reassess. Q.
Listen, you can't deny that. That one common denominator has been Nick in the building. I mean,
but who's the other common denominator? Sills?
I got it.
Why was Nick hired?
It's one or the other.
Wait. Why was Nick hired?
Both.
Why was Nick hired?
To be a play caller.
No. Why was Nick hired in 2020?
To be a play calling head coach.
He was hired
play calling
to
head
fix
coach.
Carson Wentz.
Oh.
He was not hired for Jalen Hurts.
He was not.
They wanted Carson Wentz to be reclamated. It did not work. They traded him because Wentz wanted out.
I think he would have had a better chance of fixing Carson than he would have.
I think Doug would have been way better with Jalen than Nick is.
Yeah.
Doug would have made Jalen Hurts way better.
Think Nick would have done a better job with Wentz.
I agree.
Than with Jalen Hurts.
On the flip side, I think Doug would have done a better job with Jalen. And Mark Holmes checks in. Let me drop out of here because Mark's got a lot to answer to this week. Mark, I've been watching your channel all week.
I'm surprised if this guy's not totally just completely hammered. So, hey, by the way, I'm going to say this before because I'm going to take a time out before we get Mark on. You think I should or should I just roll into it?
You can roll into it if you want.
All right, wait a minute. So wait a minute. Here, I'm going to pull him up. Then we'll stay here with it because Philly 500 is also going to join us. But here, I got to do something for you here. Hey, Zander, you keep that shit up. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll replace your ass, and I'll find someone else to ask you questions in there because you know why? I'm talking to the great Dallas Cowboy people like Mark Holmes, who's a fan, who buys into everything we say here, and I don't want him hearing all this because I don't want Mark Holmes to cry and sit there and be all upset about the Dallas Cowboys.
I give a lot of credit to those Dallas radio hosts. I thought they stood strong pretty well.
They hung in there.
105, I think it was 105 the fan or something, whatever it is in Dallas.
105.3.
Yeah, they did a good job, man. That was bullshit. But let me drop out of here. Mark, have a great segment. Appreciate you joining on, man.
Sander, one thing before you got to remember something about Odyssey. Odyssey's going to listen to those companies that they placate to. Hey, they were going to move me to Boston. The guys in San Diego, because the Padres were upset with me because I called them. Get this. Like I told you before, you're only known for hamburgers with Ray Kroc and the San Diego chicken. That's the only thing you're known for. And they got mad at me for all the things I used to say. I go, they're losing this franchise since 1969. And so they were always mad at me. And
Big Marshall, that's no way to act, my friend. Why are y'all pumping this scumbag? Mark Holmes is a delusional Cowboy fan. He's not a scumbag. Mark,
Mark, you want to know delusional? We got M. Reyes in here. I'll show you delusional.
Prince left me a super. Let me answer it before I leave. Wait a minute, Zander. You said this season all those quarterbacks are leading the division this season. I should have put CJ instead of Purdy. Well, CJ is a top 5 quarterback in the league. I
5'1",
don't know what you're getting
too.
at, though. I thought it was atrocious to have Jalen Hurts at number 3 on your list, Prince.
I think he meant Jaden Dan. He could not have meant Jalen.
He never said he meant Jaden. He's got Sam Darnold and then he's got Baker, Goff, Love, Cousins, and Purdy. It's just a bad list, Prince. I'm sorry. It's a bad list, my friend.
Dude, I think that Jalen Hurts is just a tad bit better than Trey Lance.
Oh, God. I'm out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, I was going to take a break. Hang on here now, please.